Welcome to the DSNI Community Summit.
I am excited to be here. Are you all excited? What excites me the most is that we are actively living out right now what democracy means. When we come together as a range of people, a group of people, and we have a conversation not only about where we have been, so the past 30 years of community change in the neighborhood, but where we are going and what actions we will take as individuals to create that new future. And that's what really excites me. We want to talk about what are the actions that we can do to make a different tomorrow, holding on to some of the things that are valuable for now and creating new things that we need to see.
I think it's important as we are here to look at the connection between what you've done here and the tent city development. Because people saw that we were able to get control of that land and have the decision about what was going to happen on it, that other groups in the city began to think about what kind of ownership and control of the land and decision-making could take place.
Mel, can you tell us a little bit about your Mandela proposal?
Came out of the fact that we had these issues around the schools, had these issues around the failure of the city to provide any equitable relationship with the resources, and we felt that we should secede from the city, and we named it after Nelson Mandela. In order to do that, we had to define ourselves as being deserving and of having rights. For me, the most significant person in my lifetime in terms of a political, social, psychological bearing is Rosa Parks. Because Rosa Parks said, you know, I'm somebody, I'm deserving. If I give up my seat, it's because I see myself as less than I am and less than they. And so once you assert that you are deserving, you both have to act that way and expect to be treated in that way.
So securing the land was one piece. What were the other pieces that people felt needed to happen to build this neighborhood?
I want to first say that, you know, off of Mel's comment, that this notion that we were entitled, this notion that we were deserving is a really important notion and was really important to me very early on. And so we grew up then with a sense that the movement that came beyond us gave us at a very young age the sense of identity and entitlement to what we thought was part of human rights and part of what we deserved in our neighborhood. Although some of our activists from the 60s and 70s might have pushed away, we then grabbed, which was electoral politics. As you try to build place, the decision of what happens on the land in your neighborhood, that is a big part of the place you get. So then we became a part of a movement that had not been coined yet, but became part of the environmental justice movement. And many of my environmental justice colleagues talk about DSNI being a pioneer in that movement, but really we were just trying to reclaim our neighborhood and make that neighborhood work for us. And so the environmental justice was about us working with some of the local businesses in the light industrial area around us and cleaning up the land and making sure that the land was healthy for us and our families in our neighborhood. The ability to get eminent domain authority was straight from the movement that had come from the possibility of us seceding, the possibility of Mel becoming mayor, the possibility of us recognizing that we had more political power and seizing it. There were some compromises. There were some agreements. that if the city then began to work with us, that maybe we wouldn't want to secede any longer. If they began to give us some services and attention, then maybe we would feel part of the city. The fact that in our neighborhood, we run the public process that issues the request for proposal for public land in our neighborhood came out of those movements, those elections, those campaigns. Land use is still central to who we are as neighborhoods in our city. The fact that you have your chief of economic development and the mayor of Boston saying that we are going to invest in our neighborhoods creates a catch-22. It creates the opportunity for us to partner with the city and our developers in doing things that we want to do in our neighborhood, but it also sets the developers loose to know that our neighborhood is a place that they can do development. It picks up on the gentrification question. It speeds it up. And it puts the pressure right back on us to be more active in the conversation about development in our neighborhood and the land use conversations in our neighborhood, not, my friends, not as the obstacle for development, but as the leaders and the champions for development without displacement. That's our call for today on land use and the land use conversation. This is where we are in our city today. You have an administration that is going to push for developing the city with the neighborhood. We cannot do that without neighborhood capacity. DSNI provided the capacity for residents to engage in this conversation about land use and land use decisions in a way where the city can come in and broker some deals about tools that can be used on the ground. We need to make sure that this capacity lives and is increased in every neighborhood. Or this story is only a story that sets up dysfunctional relationships in other parts of the city because we haven't invested on the ground in resident leadership, in abilities to engage residents in planning and land use decisions in a way that's functional so that we can continue to move and progress in development and still continue to do it in a way where we benefit from it. That is the legacy of that and those movements, and I think the challenge moving forward around land use decision in the neighborhood.
So we are now the fastest gentrifying city in America. It's official. There's a scientist that said it's true. And so we are at that point.
That we really need to understand and appreciate is what I call our gross neighborhood income is. We are wealthy people. I'm going to say it again. We are wealthy people. To the extent we define ourselves as having the wealth and the power, then we will act that way. Right? We continue to allow folks to define who we are, and once they do that, we used to say if they can name you, they can claim you. Right? We have to name ourselves. We have resources. We have genius. We have everything that any folks have if we look at ourselves with the power and the strength that we really have and not allow the media and others to define who we are and what's possible for us.